everybody. Let's have a prayer. I'm driving, so I have to keep my eyes open. You understand, eh? The sun is rising. Very tricky because it was right down at the road. Now it's up above the road, and you can see I'm in the shadow of my eyes. Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, this opportunity to have another day and to have something to do. Days are not very fun when we don't know what to do, or we have nothing on our schedule. Bless us that we can always have something to do, and that these challenges will help us to grow. Thank you for blessing us with the opportunity to have a schedule, make plans, manipulate all the stuff. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this beautiful world, for the trees, the grass, the weeds that we can eat and the ones we can't, and even for the beautiful flowers on the prickly thistles and the prickly roses. Thank you for blessing us with flowers in our lives, and with the beautiful greenery and the changing nature, that it doesn't stay the same. Of course, speaking of changing nature, we'd like to ask you to bless us and watch over us, that we will be able to stay cool on hot days and stay warm on cold days. We're such a species that have to have perfect conditions, and we're so grateful for the perfect. There's so many dams that are about to break. Help those who have lost. They will be able to rebuild. Bless them that they may enjoy the desire, the ability to care more about everything we have, and we want it to continue. But thy will be done. Help us to allow thy will to be done and to find joy in it, and to see the climate, the weather does. Bless us that we can help each other. People that have to climb up onto their roofs to avoid water, help them to help others, to serve each other, that we may become like thee. And thank you for these opportunities for growth and learning as we try to develop Christ-like characteristics. Thank you for all the animals that are on the planet that we see, the deer and the rabbits and the skunks and raccoons and all the animals that get on the road, or we try to miss, ones that didn't make it. Thank you for so much that surrounds us. Thank you for this topsoil to which we owe all of our existence on this earth. We owe everything to this 6 inches of topsoil that thou hast created for us. Thank you for our food. Help us to have good food to eat and not have to eat food that makes us sick, fat, gives us pain. Thank you for helping us to find out and to keep learning. Thank you for the research scientists that make our lives so much easier and better. Thank you for inspiration that Thou givest them on where to look and what to research. We're grateful for the knowledge that's on the earth. We're grateful for the knowledge that we receive. Help us as we educate ourselves. Help us to be able to focus. Help us to be able to remember the things we've read, the things we've been taught, both spiritually and thank the missionaries that spread the gospel throughout the earth. Thank you for blessing us that we were able to be taught the truths. Help us to always be able to discern truth from error and not to be persuaded by lies. As this world and all the systems in it change and decay, bless us that we can remember to call on Thee and to hold tight to the iron rod, the scriptures. Help us to read them every day so that we can have Thy guidance and Thy promptings and a higher view of everything. Help us not to get bogged down in depression and hopelessness. Help us to hold on to Thee. The most important thing is being able to have our sins washed away and carry on and do a better job today. Try to approach life and see it from Thy point of view instead of ours. We're grateful for our modes of transportation, for our feet and ankles. Those who don't work have so much problems. Thank you for the ability to walk. Please help us to walk every day. Help us to arrange our schedules and our desires that we may get up from our computers or our comfortable chairs and go sit outside and hear the birds and the crickets. Thank you that days are only so long. Thank you that they are so long. And thank you for inspiration to be creative. Thank you for all that we have. Our intelligence, our desires for Thee. We're so grateful to be Thy children and that Thou lovest us. We're grateful for all our many, many blessings. And how Thou continues to bless us no matter who we are, what we do, or what we believe, what we don't believe. Thank you for blessing us anyway. Blessing us. Thank you for this amazing continent, this amazing country where we live in Canada. All that Thou hast provided for us, for our freedom. Our freedom to go where we want and do what we want. Thank you so much for blessing us that we may make choices all day long, every day. That we may choose bad things, good things, better things, or the best things. And help us to put Thee first and put our family second. Right up there at the top. Help us to take good care of them. Help us to give them love. Help us to appreciate all the things that they do for us and for just their being part of our lives. We're so grateful that we have so much. for those whose lives are taken away, the families that are taken away. We pray for the people of Gaza that they may come speedily unto thee, if it be thy will, that they don't stay longer on the earth. And bless them that they may have hope in thee, that they may cling to thee. And bless the children. Bless them that their sufferings may not be too much to bear. Bless those who are left, that they may care for one another and comfort one another, and help us to do our part. Please keep us safe today. Help us as we drive, that we won't get in accidents, have difficulties with our cars or with people on the road. Bless us that we'll be kind to one another and yield to the other driver who has few choices. Help us to move over as people try to merge. Bless us that we won't get in accidents. That we'll all be paying attention. And thank you for stop signs and stop lights and all the things that help people to drive so safely. Thank you for the laws that we abide by. Help us to follow the laws of the land, that we won't be a danger to ourselves or others, that we can avoid difficulties. Grateful for all our blessings. We're grateful for awesome roads that are not cow paths, deer trails, but that have room for us. We're grateful for all the other systems other than driving. We're grateful for rail systems and ships and boats and kayaks and canoes and all the ways that people transport themselves. Bicycles and mopeds and motorcycles, buses, airplanes. We ask that thou will help us to be aware of our surroundings and the effects of the things that we say and do. Thank you so much for making our lives so peaceful and calm and filled with so much. All our beds and roofs and screens, all the things that we really need. Our pillows and blankets, all the construction materials, our lights, our telephones. We're so grateful to thee for being with us and watching over us. These things we pray in the name of our beloved Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Good morning, everybody. Is everybody still sleeping? I made it to the big highway. No deer. It was quite a surprise the other day when 2 deer were on the road. I was going too fast to miss them, and I went between them. One of them, my mirror hit one. I hope it wasn't terribly wounded. It broke off the outer end of my mirror. I mean the cover that goes over it. It broke it off. I went back to find it in the ditch, but I couldn't exactly where I hit the deer. So I got out and I walked on part of the way. That was before the grass grew so tall, so now I don't know if I'll find it till next spring. But in the meantime, all these wires were exposed. Didn't think about how our wiring system, which moves our mirrors, used to be you had to reach out the window and fix it. Remember when you push the button on the floor to turn on your bright lights? Those were the days, right? Anyway, so I took a big plastic water bottle and I cut the small end off and I pushed it over the mirror and I cut away enough that it fit. And then I took a heat gun. A hairdryer might have worked. Maybe I did use the hairdryer. I think I used the heat gun, the one you use for taking paint off. I've had it since we did our house 32 years ago or something. A different house. Anyway, I used it on this green plastic water bottle. It was a large one, like a gallon size, I guess. And I was able to, the heat shrunk the plastic all around the mirror, so it's holding it tightly, and it doesn't blow away. Even all this fast driving we do. Isn't that cool? Better when there's no sun in my eyes. Last week we drove this way and there was an accident up here, and so just before we get into Ottawa, and there was I had to figure out which way to go. That was challenging. You know, there were 3 of us with our phones, and we all tried to navigate when we were in Montreal or leaving it, and all 3 of us got different routes to go home. Isn't that funny? We were trying to get to a restaurant, and all 3 of us different directions to go to get there. It's much better to learn the best way and be able to go that way. Soap again yesterday. I was so thrilled. I am so thrilled. So I've made 4 batches now. I just want to acquire soap. I want to make soap from every bottle of fragrant oil I've got. I think I've used up my essential oils. I mean the different types. So now I'm working on all the fragrant oils. I'm not putting that much in, but you know what I I figured out. If I put the oil, the fragrant oil in with the castor oil and the coconut oil and the lard at the same time, then when I mix it, when I add the lye water and I stick blend it, then it will, then it blends really well. And if I have all my stuff at room temperature, which is pretty easy, just put everything outside in the sun, and the lard gets very soft, and the lye water cools down to room temperature, then I mix it all together. It works very well. I'm very pleased with how it's turning out. So far, I think all my soaps are good soaps. I think that was the problem, is that things were too hot. And then I would try to add the fragrant oil after I had cooked it. And cooking it, I put it on keep warm in the crock pot. So I make hot process soap because doesn't take 6 weeks to cure. But this soap is good. It's not too gooey. I really like these ingredients. I like how it's working. So I have all these different varieties of fragrant oils which I bought 10 years ago. Was it 10? Maybe it's more than 10 now, because I go through my comments on the videos, and now I'm at 10 years ago. I've been working my way through them. I never could find them where they were before, unless you went to every single video and checked to see if there was a new comment. And I couldn't do that. That was too much. But now there's a list. You go to Studio, YouTube Studio, and you go to content, no, not content, you go to comments, and they're all listed there. So I have it set just to have unanswered comments. Comments I haven't responded to. And I'm now back to, I guess 10 years ago, Mary painted those bowls. And when she painted them, they were so beautiful. She had beautiful little flowers all over them. And they had been bisque fired, the first firing, so they were greenware, which is very fragile. And she painted them so beautifully, but when I fired them in the kiln, those beautiful colors went away. She had gray around the top and beautiful flowers. It was so gorgeous. Well, those are in the video. And I hadn't seen them, except for when she did them and before I put them in the kiln. They didn't turn out the same, but it was really nice. It was interesting as I went through these. At the time I went through them, it was 6 years after my last hip replacement. It's interesting to find out when things happen. So that's been 2 years ago now, I guess. So it's 8 years. To create stuff. My son asked me the other day, he says, do you have any goals? I had to think about that. What are my goals? Well, let me see. What my main goal to pray twice a day at least, and to is to pray every day, read my scriptures every day, or have it read it to me. I have this app, it's called Gospel Library, and it has all the books of scripture, and you can click on it, and you can have it read aloud to you, which is so nice because it's just good for me. It's good to be able to hear it read. It's got everything. It's got all kinds of, it's got the teachings of the different prophets and conference talks and Sunday school lessons and all the manuals. And we have a program in church called Come Follow Me. And it goes through a few chapters of scripture every week. And we discuss it and talk about we're applying it to our lives. Everything is applied to our lives. So that's one goal. Another goal, I'd like to thatch this little teepee by Iceberg Pond. Just put a little thatched cover over the top. So yesterday the grass is now tall enough, it's over my head, so I cut it. And you know there's some goldenrod, I think it's goldenrod, and Joe Pye. It's called Joe Pye weed, but it's not a weed, it's the most beautiful plant. Anyway, so those things work well too. I don't have to take them out of the grass. They become nice and firm and straight, and they work very well in my thatching. I'm in the Hove lane, so I don't have to deal with traffic too much. Those are two goals: spiritual reading and studying and praying, and then making soap. I want to fill up this little bookcase with soap. I'd also like to get this kiln to make it so that it won't be a danger. I was thinking of putting it outside and building a little room made of cement boards. Just big enough for the kiln. And fire all those things. Oh, and another goal is to finish measuring my warp and then put it on the loom. I really enjoy sitting there weaving. It's a really great pastime. I love producing beautiful cloth with different patterns on it. It's really nice. I think I'd like to try overshot again. Overshot is the most difficult. You have a pattern, and then in between each pattern you do one tabby, which is 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. The other ones can be anywhere. Go 1 2 3 4 3 2 1 2 3 4, or it could be, you know, many different things, which creates all of the patterns, all of the pictures, or the 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 is twill. Twill is where everything is on diagonal. It's amazing how much traffic is in Ottawa at 6:22 a.m. This highway is pretty darn full. It's not as full as rush hour. Grateful for this car. Grateful that it is reliable. We need new front tires. It's a shame that you have to get a whole new tire when the treads wear out. It's a lot, so much waste, isn't it? To go down and harvest all that grass that's now grown up and use it for thatching that roof. I've got the teepee is there, it's all built, and I've got willow going around, to create the little roof. It's not going to take much grass to do this. It's quite nice to have the materials. I'm amazed at the blessings. When we bought the property, we had no idea the canary grass would be so tall and that it would become so useful to me that I could create grass huts with it. I really like doing that. Those are some of my goals: the spiritual, prayer, and scriptures, holding tight to the iron rod, and somebody merged ahead of me. I have to slow down. And my weaving and soap making. I would like to. I was thinking about it. I was thinking, if I want to do one thing, sometimes I put it off for a long time. But I learned about myself that I had this origami book, and it had so many cool things in it. And so one year at Christmas, I decided I would make everything in the book. And I did. I made every one of those origami designs. It took a while, but it was the whole accomplishment thing of doing a whole bunch of them. It was better than just doing one. One is fun, but doing all of them is a goal, a good goal. And so then I got this book on making things out of birch bark, and once again I decided to do everything in the book. did everything up until I got to the canisters. And so now I am doing canisters. I haven't made lids for them. But I do have a goal of using up all that birch bark that I have, making things from it. Not sure what. But I've been choosing, out of all the small pieces, I've been choosing things to make. Now I'm working on a bigger one, which I haven't been doing lately. I haven't been working on it. I need to sit outside and do that. We have a lot of bugs. And then I play Minecraft, which is so interesting. I just enjoy doing that. So when I'm too tired to do something and I just want to relax, I put it on my lap and away I go. But even in Minecraft now, I've made so many houses and I forget. You know, like I left one house thinking I need to go get this certain item. And so then I went searching for it, and you get it from caves, dripstone, it's stalactites. Stalactites hold tight to the top. Stalagmites might grow up to reach the stalactites. And then I left to go find it, and I went to many houses, and I went exploring and kept finding houses that I built and all the chests in them that had different stuff. And when I finally found some, I couldn't remember where my house was or what it was, which one I needed it for. Another goal is to go as often as possible to the temple. So if we can go every week, that's great. And it's not always been that we could get there every week because we've been watching over children a lot. But my daughter, Scarlett, is helping me now. She's taking them several days a week sometimes, or at least one day a week. That's really helpful. They're going to be over a lot this summer. I was trying to, at first I was overwhelmed thinking, oh no. But, whoa. He wants to go fast. Uh-oh, here comes another one that thinks that's okay. He's going to go in between me and this truck. Please don't. Here, he didn't go squeeze between. In Phoenix, I learned from the other drivers how to drive fast, not to drive fast, but how to drive safely, and what I saw them doing is they would drive the car that wanted to merge would drive alongside the other places, and as soon as when the gap was big enough, they would just move in. It's a very interesting thing to learn. And I've also learned from driving in Quebec every week now that just like in Holland people merge and everybody expects it. And so everybody lets everybody else do it. Which is very cool. And the same in Quebec. People, it seems that they just merge suddenly. But actually, and they do. They'll put them in front of you. But everyone expects it. And so if you don't do it, that's the unexpected. So people don't have accidents so much because that's the way that they all drive. Very interesting that. That's the way it works. Where we leave the rest behind. They go on into Ottawa and we go to Montreal. And it's about 2 hours in between, so it's a very nice place to drive. They're going so fast. There we go. Bars.
Okay. They're all the way on the other side of Wintertime. Oh, look at that.
You slept through it.
Well, sort of dozed, I think.
I know it's easy for you to sleep while I talk.
I could hear you say things.
But you sleep anyway. Sometimes you'll fall asleep while I'm talking. That's okay. Okay, this is the last exit. That was not the last exit, but this is. Now we're done with that. Okay. No more having to drive faster and stay in the right lane. Good morning, Willem.
Good morning, Nancy.
Did you have a good sleep?
Sort of.
Yeah, this sun is in your eyes. You might as well go back to sleep.
When I was laying down horizontal, like I had to do this,
Yeah.
Get that towel over me. The towel is smelly, by the way.
Oh. Well, I have this wonderful little black eye mask. I love it. It helps me go to sleep. It's really good.
Yeah, so you wearing it in bed.
I like it. And my CPAP, I am sleeping well now.
I guess that's important when it gets light outside in the morning.
Yeah, well, and even when I'm going to sleep, like at 9 o'clock, 9:30 last night, it was still light out. But my phone charger in our room doesn't work anymore. So I have to use the one out in the other room, which is good because then I don't take my phone to bed. Because it's easy to sit there and watch shorts. Those little short things you think, oh, what is this? Maybe it's interesting. And so for a minute you wonder if it's interesting, and maybe at the end it's good. And to have cell towers. Oh, there's a cell tower up ahead. Is that a cell tower? How can you tell a cell tower from other towers? Like radio towers or airplane towers just have a dot on the top. Did I tell you about what MIT researchers discovered? They researched evaporation, and of course the sun evaporates things, and so it's always been the understood knowledge that evaporation takes energy, which is what desalinization is all about. You have to evaporate the water. You can rig your pressure cooker so that the steam that comes out the top, put a little hose on it and into a bucket, and you can evaporate it all out. But you need heat, right? You have to bring it to a boil and it steams or whatever. Well, they've discovered that light, that the green light spectrum, or the green in the spectrum, and at a 45-degree angle, that green light will evaporate water.
And about water desalination, and then they showed some green light.
Oh, okay. So then it was a video. I thought I had just pictured
watch
it
it,
all.
but that must be it.
Yeah. Anyway, all these places in the world that have you can do. I'm trying. Okay, I'm online now again. I was trying to. I'd like to go on a cruise. I'd like to try it because I've never done it and I'm getting old. And if you want to do it, you have to do it right away. So as soon as we have a break, if you go down to New Jersey, you can get on a boat there, and for less than $100 a day, $80 a day, I think it is, per person, you can do a cruise. Now, I always thought a cruise would be boring because you just sit there and watch the water for days. And how boring is that? But actually, there's unlimited food of different varieties in different restaurants. There's many people there. There's music, different rooms of music. And I think there's all kinds of games. But there's also, I think there's a whole lot that goes on a cruise that I'm not aware of that you can do. And it's all paid for with your $80 a day. And per person. I mean, you can go on a cruises, hundreds of dollars a day. Caribbean, I think it's Royal Caribbean or something, where you take a cruise to the Bahamas and back. It takes a week, so 7 days, so $700 per person, plus driving down there. You could fly if you want. Maybe flying is cheap now. You're content at home too, but it's a different experience, and I think that I need the stimulation of different experiences, trying to entertain myself every day and have goals, things to do that are useful. I think it'd be interesting to make friends on a cruise, to find people of similar interests. If there's enough people, and if you do the things you like to do, think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be like, I think it'd be better than going to a resort. Because at a resort, if it's all inclusive, everything is, you can eat what you want, but, and the resort may have things happening all the time, but only one thing at a time all the time. And you still have to pay for extra stuff like snorkeling and whale watching and all these things. I think it would be interesting to be on a cruise. One part of it that would be interesting is to see what it's like. I mean, there's been fishermen forever, and they, like the shrimp boats in Louisiana, in New Orleans, they'll get on the boat and they'll be gone for 10 days on the shrimp boat, and they have to sleep in their bunks and they get seasick and everything. But these cruises, the cruise ships, I don't think that they're small enough that they get tossed on the waves. I don't know. It's also a bit dangerous, right? Quite dangerous, because you're out there and you're dependent on the motor. I watched a video once of preparing the cruise ship, the turnaround. They come into port and they have to take forklifts of pallets full of things, like so many pallets of watermelons and so many pallets of grapes and so many pallets of, to feed 1,000 people or something for a week takes, a lot of food. 3 meals a day, and then all the options. Anyway, that was interesting, seeing all the things that had to be done in between the cruise things. Anyway, we'll boat on a ship, watching the water for days. But I think that you'll be very busy if you try and do things. He loves to play bridge and chess and all these things. I think he would probably have a wonderful time testing his skills. He loves Scrabble. So you're still of the same mind that you absolutely refuse to do such a thing, right, Willem?
Yep.
Yeah. Not changing him, so I have to find somebody else who wants to go. I think it would be fun with Mary Jane. Mary Jane has lots of fun. She laughs, she enjoys things, she finds joy in everything. That would be fun. I thought that Mary and I would do things after Bill died, but then Mary had cancer already. She was taking care of him. I think he died 1 year before her, and she had cancer for 5 years. That was very difficult for her because he would smoke. So we need gas. We haven't seen anything that could be considered a gas station. There are signs over there. What does it say?
Hotel, next exit, Burger King, KFC. Yeah, but you're Canada.
Okay, so we'll take the next one. Did it say how many miles or kilometers? There's not much cell service out here between Ottawa and Montreal. Okay, exit 66. Doesn't say how long. Do you know that the exits are the same as the mile numbers?
Yeah.
They don't have mile numbers here. Oh, do they? What's this one? What does that say? It's so small.
No, you should have post with the distance on. It's a good thing, because if you have an accident, you phone the police. You know exactly where you are, and it's in between there and there.
Yeah, I never see those numbers in Ontario.
No.
75? I'd like to have a party for you, but I am really terrible at organizing things. I'll just have to phone everybody. Ask them all to come for your 75th party. Phone all the kids and grandkids. Okay, this is it. A big moment. You get to pump gas with them. Isn't that exciting? Oops. Whatever. It's what it's. So now, which way are the stations? Look at them all. There's Petro-Canada and Starbucks and Burger King. Burger Chef used to be awesome. I don't know why it stopped. KFC, pizza, and a motel. What more could you want? Okay, which is that way? Petro-Canada or Esso? Let's take Petro-Canada. The funds go to Canada.
No, the privatized is just it's
okay.
the same as any other company. It might still be a Canadian company. Who knows? It might have been bought up
What a
by
beautiful road. Wow, it's so pretty here. 158. Our own station was 150. Happiness calls, and then it shows different drinks. Okay.
How many squares have we got now? 2, eh?
We had 2. Let me see what it says here. Yes, we still have 2 squares. I hope I'm not too close.
First come to her, she can pull up a little.
Well, oh, okay.
But I think it's probably okay.
You let me know if it's okay.
Okay.
Oh, 6:59. Should we hear the bad news? Actually, our numbers are wrong. It's 3 minutes early. Okay.
To the hammering and getting really involved, and I think that really just,
a nice thing about the radio
just made it very, very
is
exciting. I think I put a good card out,
better
and,
than
it
YouTube
was
is
just an
that
enjoyable
it
competition.
puts you in contact with what's actually going on in your area.
Be like when the crowd's getting into the hammer throw.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So this is from Ottawa,
Latest in soccer and
the
cricket.
capital of
Copa America,
Ontario.
Ecuador beat winless Jamaica 3-1, their first win at Copa since 2016. Venezuela shut out
What's
Mexico
Copas?
1-0. Canada's next match Saturday night against Chile. Georgia pulled off one of the biggest upsets in Euro soccer, shutting out Portugal 2-0 and advancing to the round of 16. Portugal still finished first in its group. Belgium advanced. Ukraine will not. Both Slovakia and Romania advanced along with Turkey. Czechia will not. Round of 16 starts Saturday. And at the Cricket World Cup, South Africa beat Afghanistan to reach the final. The other semi-final goes tonight. Defending champion England facing India. And the Ottawa Titans won in Frontier League Baseball. They came back from an 8-run deficit to win 9-8 against New England in a rain-shortened game. There you go.
Thanks so much, John. All right, that's John Hancock with our look at sports. Doug, it's a look at the commute.
Eastbound 417 showing the first signs getting busier. Eastbound there at Pinecrest and again around Carlin. We'll take a more detailed look in about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Doug. 13 degrees, and Rebecca Zambergen now has a look at our headlines.
Giacomo, an Ottawa med student who is prescribing ivermectin to patients has been suspended by the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario. It says Jeremiah Hadwin was misrepresenting himself as a fully licensed doctor in February of 2022. And Neil Young and Crazy Horse have canceled the rest of their North American tour dates, and that includes an appearance at Blues Fest. More news coming up at 7 o'clock.
Let me see if this works here.
Like it's the biggest decision I've
TV gets a lot of flack for being shallow, catty. The television journalist Emily Nussbaum says that in many ways it's changed media for the better, from bringing in more diversity to highlighting social issues coming up on The Current.
The Current with Matt Galloway. This morning at 8:37, 9:07 in Newfoundland, and on the CBC Listen app.
This is World Report. Good morning, I'm John Northcott. Tonight in Atlanta, former U.S. President Donald Trump, current President Joe, in a debate that could help one of them return to the White House. Our Washington correspondent Richard Madden will be watching closely. Richard, the stakes are high. Just how high are they?
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, two leaders presenting starkly different visions of country, and there are a lot of firsts. The first presidential debate of this election cycle,
Okay.
the earliest debate in U.S. history, and it's the first time a former president is debating the current one. Two of the oldest presidential candidates to square off in a rematch. Now, President Joe Biden is widely expected to focus on issues like protecting democracy, reminding voters of the January 6 riots. He'll also defend women's reproductive rights and the importance to support key allies like Ukraine and NATO. Now, former President Donald Trump is expected to focus on economic anxieties, immigration, and crime. But he's also the first presidential candidate who's a convicted felon. But there's more to this debate beyond policy. Take a listen to political analyst Ron Brownstein, who says temperament and mental acuity will be closely watched.
In this case, we have one candidate, Donald Trump, where people are going to be looking a lot about questions of character, and one in President Biden that people are going to be looking a lot about questions of competence and capacity.
Now, both
There.
Biden and Trump are raising expectations on each other.
Now I moved
and
it.
the debate itself is taking
see
place
the
in the
road
key swing
and
state of
me.
Georgia, which could determine who wins the White House in November.
And so, Richard, the debate format has changed. How will this be different from the traditional debates that we're used to watching?
So remember the last debate, the last time these two faced off in 2020? It was a mess. Trump interrupted Biden more than 145 times, and it went off the rails. But the rules have since changed. There'll be no studio audience, just the moderators and the candidates. Microphones will be muted when the other candidate is speaking, but we'll still see the split screen for reaction during tonight's 90-minute debate.
CBC's Richard Madden in Washington. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks.
And you can watch the CNN presidential debate simulcast on CBC News Network or on CBC Gem starting at 9 o'clock Eastern, 9:30 in Newfoundland.
Con permiso.
Bolivian police officers presenting a handcuffed former Army general to the media. Juan Jose Zinyer is accused of leading a coup attempt against the country's government. The president of Bolivia survived the attempt, and an investigation is underway. Manuel Rueda reports.
Bolivian President Luis Arce tried to stay calm as he spoke to his supporters in a building known as the Great Hall of the People. He salutes soldiers who wear their uniform with pride. Earlier, soldiers led by Army Commander Juan Jose Zúñiga tried to take over the presidential palace. But the rebellion was short-lived, it seems, because of a lack of support from police and army units elsewhere in the city. Within hours, thousands of protesters descended on the presidential palace, and Zúñiga and the troops under his command retired from the area. Arce then held a ceremony where he named a new army chief, as well as new leaders for Bolivia's Air Force and Navy. Zúñiga has since been arrested. The Bolivian president has been in a tough spot for several months, as fuel shortages caused by the government's diminishing reserves of U.S. dollars undermine his popularity. Manuel Rueda for CBC News, Bogotá.
In France, voters begin casting ballots in the country's legislative elections this weekend. And if the polls are to be believed, the far right stands to make massive gains. The National Rally, the party formerly known as the National Front, advocates for an anti-immigrant, some say anti-Muslim agenda. The party is poised for an historic breakthrough in the first of two rounds of voting. CBC's Chris Brown reports.
At this rally against the far right in Paris, Chloe Ridel, who's a Socialist Party member, said electing the Rassemblement National would throw France back to the Dark Ages.
When the far right pretends that it defends women's rights, it actually take it as a pretext to be racist and to be xenophobic.
La seule alternance crédible. The RN, as it's known, is led by 28-year-old Jordan Bardella. The party's platform vows to fight legal immigration, including cutting welfare and health care to immigrants. It also claims there's a link between violent crime and immigration. 63-year-old Lydia Lecoq said security is a big issue for her. That Bardella has good advice and good ideas. Whatever the results are, Emmanuel Macron, who's been in power for 7 years, will remain as president. But if the far right does well Sunday as expected, he'd have to essentially share power. After his centrist party...
Hello, darling.
You have any water?
I do.
Macron gambled and called this vote essentially daring voters to put the far right in power, which
The water, everything is very expensive.
to have been a bad call.
Like a 2-liter bottle of Coke costs $8.89.
Ooh.
The far right has held power elsewhere in Europe, but France plays an outsized role in the EU, which is why Sunday's first round of voting could be among the most important ballots cast here in decades. Chris Brown, CBC News, Paris.
Israel's defense minister is drawing attention with his latest comments about the possibility of war with Hezbollah. Yoav Gallant told reporters Israel's military is capable of taking Lebanon, quote, back to the Stone Age, Gallant to the Israel-Lebanon border situation. But Canada is now making contingency plans in case Israel and Hezbollah in fact do go to war. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Wayne Eyre, told CBC News the military is drawing up plans to evacuate roughly 20,000 Canadians from Lebanon. Murray Brewster unpacks the challenges.
Well, we can't do it alone. General Wayne Eyre on the enormous task of evacuating non-combatants from Lebanon. It will very much be a coalition.
We have to evacuate them from Israel as well.
We're tied in very tight with our allies. On Tuesday, Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly warned Canadians to leave Lebanon as quickly as possible. The Israeli army says it plans to attack Hezbollah in the southern portion of that country. All it needs is the political green light. Israeli media reported recently that Canada was looking at an evacuation of 45,000 people or more. But Eyre says the figure they're working with is 20,000, and that's based on historic data from the last time the military had to do this in 2006. A Canadian military team is currently in Lebanon and coordinating with the embassy in Beirut in case the worst happens. Similar to 2006, the plan today involves evacuating people from Lebanon by sea to Cyprus, where they would board flights for Canada. In recent weeks, Hezbollah warned the island government could be a target if it assists Israel in an attack on Lebanon. Some of the militant group's missiles have arranged to reach Cyprus. Eyre, however, dismissed the threats. We don't believe those threats are credible. Eyre says, as far as allies know, Israel has no plan to use Cyprus as a base for offensive operations. Murray Brewster, CBC News, Ottawa.
The people of Churchill Falls, Labrador, have reason for optimism today. The forest fire threatening their town has been downgraded to a Category 1. Premier Andrew Furey says the forecast is looking favorable. The CBC's Peter Cowan is keeping an eye on the situation from St. John's. He joins us now. So, Peter, take us through the latest.
Well, the fire crews are really hoping that today they get some more help from the weather. It's only expected to be a high of 10 degrees. There's a good chance of showers this afternoon, so that's giving crews a lot of help. They plan to hit the fire with everything they can. They have 8 water bombers, 7 helicopters, and ground crews all ready to attack this fire. It's now just a smoldering ground fire with no visible flames. It's still not safe, though, for anyone to be in Churchill Falls.
10 degrees.
So for the 750 people who are evacuated elsewhere and waiting, it's been tough not getting any of those on-the-ground updates. But thanks to Sherry Hayes' high-tech bird feeder, she's been getting a real-time view of what it's like in her community.
There's no smoke in any of my pictures, like no highly concentrated smoke. Makes me feel like it's a bit farther away from town. We have a little more hope.
Just to be clear, Peter, that is someone who was evacuated and is able to keep an eye on her property because of the camera on her bird feeder?
Yeah, she just logs into the bird feeder and gets real-time picture updates that lets her keep an eye on everything going on in the town, and then she shares them with everyone else on the group chat so they can all see what's happening as well.
Amazing.
The hydroelectric plant in Churchill Falls that powers most of Labrador and a lot of Quebec is still up and running. Crews fixed a tripped power line yesterday, restoring the power to Western Labrador. As long as nothing else breaks, officials hope the power can keep flowing, even with no one left in town.
CBC's Peter Cowan in St. John's. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
And that is the latest national and international news. For more report, remember, for news anytime, go to our website, cbcnews.ca. I'm John Northcott. This is CBC News.
Good morning, I'm John Montpenico. You're listening to Ottawa among Canadian voters and elected officials are taking a hit. We hear from a political researcher about what's driving public hostility towards politicians. We'll travel to the future for a glimpse of what 3 Ottawa-Gatineau neighborhoods could look like in 2044, courtesy of a series of new radio plays by the NEC's English Theatre. Then, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, there was no shortage of misinformation.
We immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, CPAC.
Now a former University of Ottawa doctor in training has been suspended from practicing medicine after treating vaccine skeptics in an unregulated clinic. We'll have more on the backstory. Plus, it's Biden versus Trump 2.0. Their first U.S. presidential debate of the year takes place tonight. We'll reconvene our Democrat and Republican abroad panel. 13 degrees, mainly sunny in Ottawa, wind from the northwest at 21. The high today, 19 degrees under a mix of sun and clouds. Overnight clearing skies and dropping temperature-wise all the way to 8 degrees. Tomorrow, mainly sunny and a high of 23. Rebecca Sandbergen is with us now from the CBC Ottawa Newsroom.
Giacomo, Ottawa is working on a new policy for renaming things. I'm talking streets, facilities, and parks, and the idea is to better represent the city's diverse population through these names. Also give residents a way to flag names that are problematic. So Arthur White-Crummy brings us that story at 7:30. And an Ottawa City Councillor says the abusive and threatening emails she recently received were scary. Police have charged a 47-year-old man. He appeared in court yesterday. Emma Weller brings us that story at 7:30.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Doug is back with us now for a check on traffic.
That's quiet still. 417, that's for sure. It's wide open, no issues there. If there's traffic out there, it's moving very efficiently and very quickly. And not seeing any problems at all headed downtown from the west end or the east end. The westbound 174, same thing there if you're coming in from Orleans, no problems at all. Ennis Road, if you like that, no problems there either. It was a bit busy earlier in the single lane stretch of the 174 out in Cumberland, but not anymore. Over in Gatineau, it also was a bit busy earlier on the westbound 50 going through La Vérendrye, not anymore. No issues there, no problems with the bridges between Ottawa and Gatineau either, so it's strangely quiet. We'll see what it's like in about 15 minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Doug. Time now is 12 minutes after 7 o'clock. It's the kind of headline we're seeing more and more of. Elected officials being harassed or threatened. And it's happening to people at all levels of government. Here in Ottawa, Rideau Valley Councillor Stéphanie Plante is the latest to come forward with a police report.
So last week I received a series of very threatening emails. They were very detailed. We all get emails about people who aren't quite fond of us, but these were very specific, and they were also very specific to the fact that I was francophone. I can't give any more details that we haven't had the bail hearing yet, but it was very, very scary. The fact that he is now awaiting his bail hearing, the fact that it was taken seriously tells me that my instincts to report it were right. We have to start taking these things seriously. We also just obviously need to leverage technology to find out where these people are, where they're sending these messages from. In this case, the individual gave his full name and his phone number and where he lived, but I never ever expected the fact that I am francophone and that I speak French to be such a polarizing issue, especially in this area, but for this individual, it was to the point of threatening my life. I really hope I never see anything like that ever again in my inbox, but I know it's something that other colleagues deal with every single day, and it has to stop.
Councillor Stephanie talking about a 47-year-old man who was arrested yesterday. Ottawa police have charged him with uttering threats and harassment. My next guest knows all about public anger towards politicians, both in his work as a pollster and as a former staffer in the Prime Minister's office. Dan Arnold is the Chief Strategy Officer at Polera. Morning, Dan.
Good morning.
So you actually measure something called a rage index. Can you explain what that is?
Yes, this is something at Polera we've been doing for the past 2 years. Every month or two, we check in on Canadians and ask them same 6 questions every time, just asking them their emotions, how they feel about different levels of government, about the economy, about the stories they're seeing in the news, about the changes happening in the country. And we get a score from 1 to 100, basically, on how angry Canadians are about these different topics. And every now and then, we talk about different issues on social media, whatever, to kind of explore different angles of rage, but it gives us a long-term trend line for the level of anger in the country.
And what has that trend line been looking like?
It's going up. So, this is the thing we started just kind of coming out of the pandemic. There seemed to be a lot of frustration with things like, passport lines and airport delays and things like that. And, we kind of thought that would be the high water mark, but actually this has been going up over the last 2 years, the level of anger in the country.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I can see kind of three levels to this. People are angry with the situation, road rage, the passport line and such, then maybe at the institutions and such, and then at the personal politicians. Have you seen it go all the way up to that third level? Is that also where you're seeing it?
Yeah, I think the incidents that we talk about when it leads to people spitting on politicians and throwing gravel at them and those more violent outbursts there. I mean that's hard to measure because overall we have 20% of Canadians who are very angry about the federal government, similar levels who are very angry about the provincial government. But 20% of Canadians is 8 million people, and obviously 8 million people aren't taking that step to go to violence and go into these more visceral moments of rage. So, it's harder to measure those isolated incidents, but I think, the more people that are very angry, if that continues to increase over time, it just makes these types of things more and more likely just because, that overall level of anger is going up. And I do think it's somewhat self-propagating. If there's a lot of angry people, they're getting together on online chat forums and they kind of fuel and egg each other on, and I think there, over time will be more and more of these incidents if, overall levels of anger keep going up.
So there's a sense of my anger validated by others.
Yeah, to some extent, and then you see, we're obviously talking today a lot about what's going on in the U.S., and if you have, incidents like the former president, kind of encouraging people to storm the Capitol building, right, being the most dramatic incident of this, but if people are egging them on and almost validating these forms of outbursts, I think it emboldens people more and kind of encourages them to take that extra step and cross the line from just feeling pissed off about something to actually moving over to harassment.
And in your experience, how have these incidents of harassment changed over the years? And I'm wondering if there's one particular incident that sticks out for you.
Yeah, and look, I mean, there's always been levels of, there's always been, incidents of people, pieing politicians and things like that. It just seems like it's happening more often. Certainly somebody who used to work in the Prime Minister's office, I think of the last federal election campaign, people who were on the bus with the Prime Minister on the plane, there were several events that had to be canceled because of people throwing gravel at the Prime Minister, things like that. So, and, that's quite scary when you're in those situations because you don't know where that's going to lead if things are going to escalate. And, there's, I think the risk of these things becoming more and more common over time if, the public continues to feel quite angry overall.
I don't know, as a pollster, maybe it's limited what you can gather data, but are you able to get a sense of why people feel they can lash out at politicians verbally or in emails and make it so personal?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it does become self-propagating. If you see other people doing it, it almost, validates, especially if those other incidents aren't taken seriously, and that's why I think it's good to see, the situation we're talking about here. The police actually did get involved, and they actually do seem to be, handling the situation. But if, other incidents happen and, people kind of feel like there's no consequences to them, it certainly will lead to more of these types of incidents.
So, in your experience both as a pollster and working as a staffer as well, is there any way to harness this anger and turn it into something more constructive?
That's a good question. And I'd say, a base, one thing I would say is that, anger in and of itself is not always a bad thing. The Rage Index, we will measure anger towards specific events, and, you've got 80% of Canadians right now who are angry about the war in Ukraine. And that's not a bad thing. When things like that happen, you should be angry. So I think there are certainly places where anger is almost welcome. We've also measured things like road rage, and if you get a little bit annoyed when somebody cuts you off, I think that's fine. Obviously, if you're if you get out of your car and you start attacking it, that's not so much fun, right? So, I think there's degrees of anger, and it's not always going to be something that's going to be problematic. And if you can, use that, if you're angry about something, like get involved, try to change the system, try to, run for office, do something a little more constructive. If you don't like the government, if you don't like politicians, like work to defeat them. Then, don't take it out on violence.
And thank you very much. Appreciate you joining us this morning.
Sure, I was happy to be here, and I'm not angry to be here today.
Good. Dan Arnold is the Chief Strategy Officer at Polara and previous campaign researcher for the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau.
Well, there you have it. Canadian news. What'd you think of that?
Well, I'm perturbed that there's so much anger. Like, it's going to be, like, before we know it's going to be the level of the States. Everybody's angry, and they have take it out on everyone.
I'm glad we have gun laws that people, it's not a right to own a gun.
Mm-hmm.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about somebody with a gun.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I don't.
People have illegal guns in Canada as well.
I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Like everybody's one, or there has to be signs up that. There's a lot of construction on this road. At least we have a lot of time. I really like having extra time. So if you have a traffic jam, if you've got to go a long way, you think, well, I just want to get there and use the allotted time, but you have more chances for more construction. In Canada we have 2 seasons, winter and construction. I like Canada.
Yeah, me too.
My children are definitely, they all act like Canadians, they're polite and kind of reserved. My American mother. I think that Trump has given permission for people to be angry and to do things that are unheard of. He swears and the crowd cheers. It's like bring out the basest traits of people, the lowest common denominator, which we've never seen before. It's always been people in government have been well behaved and try to do the right thing. There has always been social, a certain amount of bad stuff going on. But if people find out that somebody has done something bad, if they've committed fraud or if they've committed adultery or had, all these things, people resign. People get out of the spotlight and stop being our representatives. But I guess they're representing the good people. But now, there may be fewer good people. So they're representing, I guess society has changed so much that it's no longer, premarital sex was unheard of. I mean, it happened, but it was not, the scarlet letter, right? It was not allowed. It was not socially acceptable. And now it's the common thing.
Yeah, it's gone to know.
And so the people think nothing of their leaders doing those things. Some people. That's a nice cloud up ahead. So today's Thursday. Tomorrow I go camping.
Yeah,
Well, it's cottaging. What?
What time are you guys leaving?
Well, they're not leaving until after work.
Okay.
So they won't be there till 7 o'clock or so. But I think we're allowed to go anytime after 11.
Okay.
So I'll have the kids in the morning, and I'll have to pack at the same time. But since we're not camping, I don't have to take the same quantity of stuff. And there's already chairs there around the campfire. I'll probably take my chair anyway because I might want to go sit in the woods or something. It said on the website that there's a chance for swimming and hiking and canoeing or kayaking or something. So I don't know if they rent those or if those come with the property. Might come with the property.
Well, they might come for part of the time.
Okay. Well, that would be nice. I'll tell you the location. Oh. I plan to take a whole bunch of games. I think the kids might enjoy Scrabble. According to their report cards, they both do very well with language. They're in French immersion, so a lot of what they learn is in French. Kilometers to Montreal. And Montreal has rush hour. I'm glad that we have this road that goes south of Montreal, 30, and you can avoid it all. Noise. I think this is a cement road.
Yeah, there's just crack there.
I know, it's right in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Which is why it's there. Which is also why this road work is going on. 100 begins right. So I was about to say before the cell service died, when I came to Canada, I knew Fahrenheit and miles, and I had to change to kilometers and Celsius.
Right.
And when
to liters.
Yes, liters instead of gallons.
But we already had a decimal currency. Now where a pound is 20 shillings. And that was 12 pence or something like that.
Right.
That's one of the jokes that what's the name made in Harry Potter. Like 29 sickles for a Gilead and 17 looks for a sickle. Or the other way
17
around.
and 29. Prime numbers.
Yeah.
She was so smart. Oh my gosh. I couldn't believe Marjorie. What was her name? Marjorie Cannon Rowling? No.
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling. She, what a brilliant woman. To create an entire society based on a whole new premise. Of course, it probably coincided with the rise in witchcraft in the society. You know?
Well, witchcraft has been everywhere. And
But it wasn't a big deal.
Fairy tales already from age immemorial.
Right.
Already had witches in them. So.
Right. But it wasn't a big, like we didn't have kids that read books on witchcraft. And
The Wicked Witch of the West.
yeah. My daughter once said I was a powerful witch. I don't know if I should take that as a compliment. But you know, sorcery, it says in the scriptures that sorcery will be rampant on the planet when the Savior returns. And
right. Okay.
yeah, and sorcery, it was the use of medications to change things. And so drugs are like all these mind-altering drugs. I think that is what the scriptures referred to as sorcery.
Oh, okay. A little bit of the definition. I thought sorcery and witchcraft were going to be interchangeable, but maybe it's not.
No. Sorcery is the practice of, it's the doctor.
Potions and everything.
Yeah, potions, yeah. Give this potion to, what was her name? Started with an M. Arthur? What was his name? Merlin. Merlin. And what was the girl? She ended up becoming the very bad person. Anyway. Morgana, that's right. Give this portion to Morgana.
I thought she was always bad, but anyway.
Well, no, she had nightmares, and she really didn't like having to hide that she had powers. And her guardian was killing off witches to rid the world of witchcraft. That's right. The way you know if someone was a witch, if they drown, they were a witch. If they float, they weren't.
No, the other way around. If they drowned, they were okay. If they float, they were a witch and we burned at the stake.
Oh, I said it wrong, but that's what I was thinking. Yes. Dreadful. We're very fortunate not to live in medieval times. We're very civilized. And yet I think that all the time people have felt that they were very civilized and that modern. Like if you watch, of course it's written now, but Murdoch Mysteries. That's a Canadian show based in 1900 or 1904. Anyway, it starts about that time. But it was written from today, so it's looking back at history and weaving history in. The video is titled Prayer. It should be prayer and chatting and driving. I got this up on the windshield and it's out of the view, so it's not going to obscure my driving, and you get to see, and it's on a swivel. So if I just push it will turn and you can see other things. finally got it to work. Yesterday, we started watching CBS, which I don't think I've ever watched. I don't think it ever came up. And it's so nice because it doesn't seem to be all one-sided. It seems to be a bit more balanced. And it's a real, it's live. And so you're hearing about the things that are going on right at the time. It's like it used to be when you used to watch television, and CNN and Fox. They all had this constant things that were going on before it all became talk show and opinions and all that stuff. I think that's a downfall. I think that it lets somebody else make up your mind for you. I think that it's better to make up your own mind, just to hear just the facts. But I guess those days are long gone. I guess, and from what I've heard, there's this project, well, there's Project 2025, but that's nothing compared to Agenda 47.
I thought Agenda 47 came first, and it was a basis for it.
No, 2025 is what the Republican Party has been wanting for a long time and building up, but Agenda 47 is Trump's very own playbook.
Oh, I see.
And I fear for the lives and safety of the media that he doesn't like, because he plans to...
And the politicians.
Yeah.
And anybody he doesn't like.
Well, you remember what happened? I mean, Hitler was a really nice guy. He was all for the people. The people thought he was great. He said, we're going to make Germany awesome. We're going to... And if you have an invention, invent it. We'll fund you, and all the inventions and all the things move forward. And the people loved him. And the ones that didn't disappeared. And there's all these stones set on their end in front of the parliamentary building in Berlin, in front of the big building, which is all the politicians that were killed off so that he could win the vote. He got in legally. Everybody thought he was great. Anyway, I'm very grateful to live in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Grateful that...
That's the thing, it's the weakness. Well, not the weakness of... You can call it a weakness, but it's just a society, I guess. Like, people can get to the person himself or herself. Like a politician or a judge or, who's in the spotlight. Anyone who has power to make decisions for a whole bunch of people. You can just target them. And threaten them, blackmail them, and kill them. And it's so much easier with the technology we have now.
Well, and there's this, one of the things in that agenda is about social media and not allowing them to say things that are against the propaganda that's going to be going on. Mm-hmm. It's so important to have the Holy Spirit with you to help you discern between right and wrong and truth and lies. You have to really be aware. You have to follow that. Oh, here's Quebec with the fleur-de-lis. What is a fleur-de-lis? Is that it's a lily. Is that right?
I think so, or something.
Or it's an iris. Kind of looks like an iris, the way it comes up and goes like that. One up and two down. That's interesting. I wonder if it's my favorite flower. when you watch a video, go to settings on the video itself. Yeah, and then you can speed it up. So you can watch it twice as fast if the people are talking very slowly and it's boring and you don't feel like listening, or if you just want to see what it's about. And also down at the bottom of the description, it's usually ... more. If you click on more, it will give you down, you scroll down below everything, and there's in a little rectangular box that says show transcript or watch or whatever. And so you click on that, and then you can see the words. And you can, when you click on certain words, it takes you to that part of the video. I'm on the live video, so I know you know this. I was just talking to them, just in case people don't know.
I see.
Yeah, that makes it very easy. Sometimes on these videos, the titles are very misleading. You think that you know, but it may be a complete lie of what's in the video. It's clickbait. And there's nothing really in that video. Or it might be about something that's current, but instead of showing you what's current, they take you back through the whole history of it. If you don't want to see that, you just go to show transcript, and you can scroll down until you find what is new that you don't know. You can just read it, or you can click on it to watch. Some videos have they'll have a picture on there, pictures or videos, but it's not current. It's for display, for demonstration purposes only. Like if you're following something. I've seen that, like when I was checking out the Israel-Gaza war, and it
they see that a lot with videos of the Ukraine fighting.
Yeah, video for demonstration.
And then really, I don't really want to watch it.
No, why watch something that's not even about what it, you know?
Yeah, there maybe you can click transcript and go and read through it quickly.
And I'm finding a lot of videos have this same voice. It's not a person reading it all or saying it all. It's is it AI generated? Is AI generating videos for YouTube now?
Well, I mean, just
well, it's
just like when you're on your cell phone or whatever, you know, just put on the reading rather than just the words.
I'm glad that even though, I mean, I think that the United States will vote for Trump, and if they don't vote for Trump, he will still make it happen so that he is president. I think that he's got it figured out. He's a lot smarter after these years than he was in 16. 8 years later, he's had a lot of conversations and found out a lot of stuff. How he can manipulate the system to do what he wants and to eliminate all dissent. So he's going to eliminate the dissent of the media, and he's going to do it legally. He's got...
Well, he can only do it legally when he's in power. I don't think he can do it legally now.
No. Well, he's going to make sure that he wins.
Well, he can mess with the election.
Yeah. Remember last time he shut down the mail?
Remember what Kemp did in Georgia?
Right.
People are, first of all, the fewer polling stations in near urban black neighborhoods, so there'd be long lineups. and then he forbids, as a lot of times, you cannot help people in line.
Yeah, and he shut down the mail system. He put in a new guy and had him.
That was the joy. He's still in there. For some reason, Trump was able to put him in there, and Biden couldn't get him fired for some reason. I don't know why. Because he is still doing Trump's bidding. He can use the post office to erect mail-in voting.
I asked for my ballot to be online.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that was possible, but I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Is that something that was already offered?
I don't know. I've only started voting. I've only voted 3 times or twice or something.
Because I never heard of it before. Otherwise, older people would have already done it. But it's a good idea. If it can work and it's securely done, like you do it securely.
Well, I think you print it out and sign it, and then fax it, or then scan it back in. So it's got your signature on it. It's the same as
yeah, it should work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, that will favor the Republicans because many poor people who would vote for Biden will not even have a computer that can scan things, and I guess you could go to the library.
Well, they can mail in, or they're not absent, right? They can. I don't know how it works down there. I guess you have to go there and get in the lineups.
But it's certainly it works, so it'll be less load on the mail system.
This Agenda 47, you should find out about it. There's a website for it. And it's all from Trump's point of view. But there's also this person that makes videos, Antichrist 45. He's convinced that Trump is the Antichrist. I'm not sure that there's just one. But anyway. But he goes through them all. The Agenda 47. There's 47 things, which is 47th president he plans to be. But I think they've already changed things in Georgia so that they can, so that your vote really won't matter, so that they can, at the end, they can choose who wins. I can't remember what positions they've changed for that. But one thing that's interesting is the president, the United States, the federal government does not really control the state governments.
Right.
The states are pretty independent of one another, which is quite an interesting phenomenon. I suppose Ontario is similar.
And the states control their own election, I believe.
Yeah. So here it's Elections Canada. It's all federal. Well, that's for federal stuff. I guess there's the local elections. Yeah, anyway, so that's kind of interesting. So I'm not sure how much pull he will have on the states. How much he can, he's good media. It'll be very hard to find the truth. And if the truth is about bad things about Trump, you won't be able to find it on social media. I think that's the plan.
Right.
But thank heavens he does not control Australian. It's gotten darker out. We have gotten under this beautiful cloud that was on the horizon. See now, the Vaudreuil Dorion is, how do you say that?
Vaudreuil Dorion.
What?
Vaudreuil-Dorion.
Vaudreuil-Dorion?
Something like that, yeah.
Vaudreuil. I need all the endings. I want to know how the endings are pronounced or if they're silent. Because I don't know. See, that looks like Felix Leclerc. How is it actually said?
Felix Leclerc.
Felix Leclerc. See, so you don't say the C at the end.
Right.
So now here in 3 kilometers is to Sorel Tracy. But I thought that, see, we're going to Longueuil. Longueuil? Really?
Longueuil, yeah.
Longueuil, oh my gosh.
Right.
Not Longueuil.
Right.
Longueuil and Leclerc. Anyway, so I was getting mixed up. Last time I came back when it said Vaudreuil, how do you say it?
Vaudreuil-Dorion.
Vaudreuil-Dorion. Say it again.
Vaudreuil-Dorion.
Can you say it really slowly?
Vaudreuil-Dorion.
Vaudreuil.
No, I might not be completely on myself.
Well, I think you're better than me.
We're closer than you, I think. Yeah, pretty
Anybody's closer than me.
But pretty close.
You know, in Quebec, they don't use dots like 1.5 miles. They use 1,5.
Mm-hmm. And in Europe and Holland, they have the same thing.
And the 7s have a line through them.
And England, yeah.
And the zeros, a lot of times I see zeros with a line through it, but not the way that you would make the line for a Q, but the action.
Yeah, no, that's a computing thing. You have the zeros and a line over it to distinguish it from the O in computer printouts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now we're going to have rain. So here's our exit. 30, 20, and 401. But we're not going to. 401 will be going both directions. So the 401 is a highway that goes from Windsor up through, no, not Windsor, from Niagara Falls. Is that right?
Oh, from Windsor.
Oh, from Windsor and through London and then Kitchener and Toronto and Kingston and Montreal, Cornwall, Montreal.
Well, Montreal's not the 401 anymore.
Well, it ends here. It becomes right here. This is the 401. It's the beginning of it. 20 becomes 20. It's 20 in Quebec, and it's the 401 once you cross the border. Okay, so now we have to look at this road and see what we want to do. How do you say that again?
Say what?
Vaudreuil?
Oh, Vaudreuil-Dorion.
Vaudreuil-Dorion. Anyway, I didn't realize that we wanted to head that direction coming back. We take the 30 toward Vaudreuil-Dorion. I thought that Vaudreuil is Longueuil. I got those two mixed up and I thought, well, I don't want to go back. So now I looked at the map at home and I see one is here and one is there. How did you get this transponder?
I think I went on a website, A40, toll road or something in Quebec. A40 Quebec, I think, and I googled and I found it.
So we want to go to Sorel Tracy?
Yes, yeah, go straight. And it's probably Sorel.
What?
Sorel.
Sorel?
Yeah. And Tracy is probably an English name, so.
Sorel Tracy?
Sorel Tracy.
Okay. Have you heard anything about when the Toronto Temple opens?
No.
It was supposed to reopen a few weeks ago, but it wasn't ready.
Right.
If you want to make appointments for it, you go to the Toronto website, and there's no place for appointments.
Mm-hmm. The temple is not taking any appointments at the moment. Something like that.
Yeah. And I guess once it is finished, there'll have to be a dedication.
No, that's only after a major renovation, I think. I think this is just a maintenance thing.
They were going to change the bathrooms, I think. They're going to, I can't remember what that was about. I'm glad we're not late. I'm glad we have time. I don't know how much time we have, but yeah. This is such a nice road. It's so much easier than going through Montreal. We have great distances that aren't built in Canada. I wonder what kind of trees those are. That one on the top right is cedar. Big fat one on the left is maple. That's aspen. Or no, it was birch. No, aspen. There's so many kinds of cars now. It used to be that you could drive along the road and name all the cars. Of course, I suppose if I probably had a boyfriend that was interested in that. Oh, look at that lovely whatever. And another Le Pont Parent Barret. How do you say that? Parent Bear.
I didn't understand the right.
Parent -Barre.
Say it again.
Parent Parent -Bear Barre.
Okay, Parent Bar.
Parent Bar.
Yeah.
Parent Bar. This is Pont. How do you say Pont? Pont. Pont Parent
Bar.
Bar. Pont Parent Bar. Pont Parent Bar. Okay, maybe I'll get it. I was surprised at how much French I still remember when I was reading it last week.
I should practice French again.
You listen in French. Now, when they do French and English, they ask for French and English. Do you raise your hand for English?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Need all the help we can get. There's so many interesting things we pass on these trips, which would be fun to go and see. Museums and whatever. And when we used to go to the Washington Temple, we never went sightseeing. We always went to the temple as early as we could and stayed as long as we could, and then we went home. So we never had an opportunity It was never a high enough priority to go see the sights.
Also, the thing is 11-hour drive, so if you
Right.
if you drive all day and if you didn't take and we didn't have much money for a hotel in those days.
No, it was nice when we at the temple. They would charge us such small amounts to stay overnight locally. How much did we pay?
I think $20 at a time. That was, of course, in the late 70s, early 80s.
But that's what we were paying in Toronto,
Or
wasn't
25
it?
or something like that. Yeah, 20 or 25.
I think it might have been less. I think it might have been 10.
No, I don't think so. It was 20.
It was fun coming up here last Friday with
Judy and Lisa.
yeah, and being with Helen and Brian and Bonnie and Dawn. It was very nice to come up here and to be there with them and wait in the waiting room with them. That was very nice. But it would add a lot of time to our drive. We'd have to get up so much earlier if we're going to go with, pick up people on the way. It takes, and then you have to drive on the 401, which is pretty difficult. It's wall-to-wall trucks.
Yeah.
But here, not so much. Hello, 3 people. No thumbs ups. I notice these things.
What?
On here.
Oh.
I can see how many thumbs ups and how many people are on. There was a video I was watching and he said, well, we're going to wait a few minutes until everybody gets here. And he already had 1,000 people watching. He was making 1,000 people wait for more people to come. Couldn't believe it. I forget what it was about. Maybe it was that earthquake guy. So this volcano in Naples is showing all the signs of an eruption. And when it's one of those exploding volcanoes, I believe. Or can you tell ahead of time? Like that's what happened at Mount St. Helens, right? It was an exploding one.
Yeah, well,
the top of the mountain.
They should be evacuating now, and probably a lot of people have done it. But it's very difficult to organize. Like you don't have, okay, well it's gonna explode in 2 weeks. Let's all everybody evacuate. It's not gonna happen that way. It's gonna be clogged everywhere, and people,
But they're not even, according to what's her name? Somebody asked somebody on the Pulse.
No idea.
Anyway, she's pointing out that they're not evacuating people and that they have said that they won't be able to evacuate everybody.
So people just have to leave.
I guess.
Stay with friends, parents, or just leave permanently because who knows that the volcano can erupt next week or it can take a few months or years.
But you can't just do that. You have a mortgage, right?
Yeah.
You have to still pay your mortgage. And you have to start with nothing. And you won't have your job if you've gone to evacuate.
Yeah,
So how do you stay in hotels without a job?
Yeah, so
Get in your car and you just drive.
You live a destitute life or you're dead. You're burned to death. Not a really great choice, is it?
No. But they are on the edge of the water. Maybe people have boats. They can evacuate to the water. I hope we don't have to go through that. you bring your phone?
Yeah.
Can you find out how long till we get there? Chateauguay. So how long between Chateauguay and Longueuil?
How do I do this?
You go to maps. That would be the best.
Yeah, maps.
And then you go to search for.
I think I have a Montreal temple thing in here. Okay.
Oh, good.
Directions.
And then
My location.
click go.
What the heck is going on here now? Why does it say search? I already know. Tell them where to go.
Done. Is there a done button or something?
Oh, go. Okay. 32 minutes fastest.
32 minutes. Well, that's awesome. I'm not going to go fast anymore.
We might not be able to get in when we get there.
That's okay. I'd rather be there early than be there late. Gives us time if we have a traffic jam. Now, how do you say Chateauguay?
Chateauguay.
Chateauguay?
Yeah.
Chateauguay.
Chateauguay.
Chateauguay. You hear it on the news, so that gives me a good idea. And René Lévesque? Lévesque.
Yeah.
René Lévesque. He was the Prime Minister of Quebec?
Yes.
Did he want to separate?
Yeah, I think so. That's the one. Yeah.
They tried to separate. It was an earthquake, but it didn't work. They're still there. We're still here. I guess the thing about separating is you have to take your share of the debt.
Yeah.
But Ontario and Quebec support a lot of the rest of Canada with
Quebec
payments.
No, I don't think Quebec does. Quebec is not one of the have provinces.
Oh, really?
I think they get equalization payments.
Interesting. So I guess this is where 132 begins. We catch it farther up. So it's 8:20. So now we get to experience rush hour traffic on this highway. Let the people who have to get to work go fast. We're so blessed to be able to live in a beautiful place. But my problem is loneliness. I need to be loneliness, not seeing other human beings. If I walk to the bridge and sit on the bridge every day, then that's a good thing, because people drive by and they wave or they smile or both, or they honk. That's nice. time did you go to bed last night?
11.
I was really tired at 4:45. I guess that's on the verge of when the sun is, the light gets light so early. Which is nice. It would be interesting to be in Alaska for the summer. Very interesting. I wonder if I would get much sleep at all. I get a lot of sleep in the winter. So good morning, everybody. I don't know how long this video has been going, but we had a prayer. That was a long time ago. You can rewind to see that. Now we were on the drive to Montreal. It's Thursday, which is our temple day. I hope we can continue doing this through the summer as well. It's really nice to go every week. It's a very long drive. And I was quite worried about Montreal driving. People pull in unexpectedly, but if you are expecting the unexpected, if you expect people to just pull in front of you, then you're okay, you're ready for it. It's when you try to drive in Quebec like you drive in Ontario, or expect other drivers to, oh no, danger. I think my driving is getting better over time. I think I'm learning more over things. How do you find my driving, Willem?
It's fine, it's great.
Thank you.
Except sometimes you're distracted.
Sometimes.
You have to watch out for that.
I do try to be aware of what everybody's doing on the road. And watching for lights changing on cars and distances between cars and what other cars might want to do. If one car's getting squished, then he might want to pull out, which might slow down my whole line or something. And animals, I do try hard to watch for deer, but I find that I'm not seeing the eyes of the deer like I used to. They used to shine.
Yeah, they don't always shine. It depends a bit on the angle. And
yeah.
Another thing I find helpful when the car comes at you with the headlights on, even especially when when the brights are on. But you almost get to the car, almost at one point of crossing him, blink your eyes once or twice.
Oh, blink your eyes.
Yeah, and then the vision restored a lot quicker.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I was taught that when you pass, you don't pull back in until you see it in the mirror.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
But other people don't do that. They see the space and they go right in. Which then makes you have to slow down. Everybody has to slow down.
Well, no, as long as you go faster, then as long as you keep going faster than the other guy, it doesn't really matter.
But sometimes...
But it's not really nice if somebody passes you and about a 1 meter or 2 meter keep going. Even if he's going, it's a very too short gap, right? So just leave a regular gap that you always would be like behind.
Behind in front. That's what you learn when you're weaving. May I have my bottle, please? My woven water bottle. This is cedar bark. I should use birch bark for one of those bottles. I have so much birch bark, and I don't want it to be there when I die. And I have so much yarn for knitting and so much yarn for weaving, or string, I would call it string, but it's called yarn. And yarn in Canada is called wool, not yarn. And crochet yarn is called crochet cotton. Now here's a turn off to New York. One day I'd like to go down there. I'd like to go through Vermont. Wouldn't that be fun? Maybe we could come up here on a Thursday and then go to Vermont and stay over. Maybe you wouldn't like it, but maybe I could do it with Mary Jane, my traveling companion, my buddy. She has replaced Mary. Poor Mary. I wonder if Mary can actually see what's going on here, or if they're too busy doing other things.
My bet would be they would be too busy doing other things.
And are they on celestial time when they're after they die, or are they still on Earth time?
I have no idea.
Like Earth time, if 1,000 years to us is a day to God, then we're here for about 2.5 hours. So it could be that a lot of people are watching. It's like a movie, watching what's going on. I don't know. And who is my guardian angel? If angels are people that have either come to the earth or have already come or have not come yet, then I imagine it could be one of my ancestors. Maybe my grandmother that I never met. Somebody that was not on the earth during my lifetime. Anyway, I don't know. So here's our turnoff, Montreal and New York. That one goes to Sorel Tracy, Quebec. How do you say that?
Sorel.
Sorel. Sorel.
Tracy.
Sorel. Like you put your tongue on top instead of Sorel with the tongue on your bottom of your mouth. You put Sorel with it on the top of your mouth. Sorel.
Yeah, most of the tongue sticks to your palate.
Sorel.
Sorel.
Sorel. Oh, one day I'll get it. One day I'm going to be good at all this. I like languages. I'd like to learn Vietnamese so I can speak in Vietnamese to Anna's mom. Wouldn't that be nice? I think that would be fun. She raised a great daughter. She's awesome. I'm so blessed to have such an amazing daughter-in-law. And she's so kind, and she's very family-oriented. And she loves cooking. She makes these amazing dinners twice a day. I've been trying to cook some of the time. She cooks, and I always think, if you cook, you don't clean. So I clean when she cooks. And even if she doesn't cook, I like to clean some of the time. And some of the time we just go with the way it is. Daniel cleaned the big room yesterday. Have you been up there, Willem?
No, not since.
It's quite amazing. He's got his whole computer set up with all of his screens, and he's cleaned the whole area, and he's moved all of those ancestral stuff, all the boxes. He's moved it all to the far corner. Okay, now where am I going? 15 North. Montreal, La Prairie.
Here.
Okay. Montreal, La Prairie. How do you say La Prairie?
La Prairie.
La Prairie. Prairie.
The emphasis on the last syllable.
La Prairie. Oh, it's on the last syllable.
Yeah, unless it's a silent B, whatever, then. But other than that, it's the last syllable.
And if it's a silent, then is it on the syllable before the silent?
Yeah.
La Prairie. Ah, there's a rule. I like that about Spanish. The accent told you where the emphasis was. See, if you pass and you have to get into a line like that, I always feel I shouldn't push my way into narrow spaces that everybody then has to move, you know, it's just not nice.
But what they do here is no different than Toronto, if you think. I mean, they also crawl into all sorts of spaces. And they weave.
Right.
They don't weave nearly as much here as they do in Toronto.
How do you say Candiac?
Candiac?
Candiac? Candiac? A says ah.
Yeah, usually.
How many different pronunciations are there for A?
Well, normally two. Ah.
Yeah. That's important to learn. You know, my friend from Australia, she said water, wuta, and so we started looking at our vowels and how we each say the vowel. If you learn the vowels of the language, that's a good thing. Shall we listen? Oh, we don't have the news anymore because we're in Quebec now. Can't get 91.5. But it's a Canada-wide news station, so it should be available on some station in Quebec.
You're right, but it might be in French. Most of them will be in French. They have an English station in Montreal, it's possible.
Radio Canada.
Radio Canada.
Did I say it wrong? How do you say it? Radio
Canada.
Canada.
C'est bien.
C'est bien.
C'est bon.
C'est bon.
C'est bon.
C'est bon. It's good. You see those little triangles of the triangle, or not triangles, those little rectangles with the point on them? Those always point to where the exit is. I didn't know that the first few times in Quebec, and on 20, a lot of your exits are on the left, and you have to know to follow the point on that rectangle. So what is that called? Not an equilateral rectangle. What is it called when it's? What is that shape called? That yellow shape?
Trapezium.
A trapezium. Wow, a trapezium.
And for trapezium, the left-hand side that you saw could also be non-straight.
Both of them could be non-straight. A trapezium. What does that word come from?
The Greek word trapeza, meaning table.
Trapeza means table?
In ancient Greek.
Interesting.
Probably the same in modern Greek, although it's quite different. The language is quite different, but this might still be the same.
The Biodome de Montreal. I'd like to go to the Biodome. And the garden. Yeah, Hardin something. Boulevard. Is that right?
Boulevard. So this is abbreviation. Boulevard.
Okay, now what do I do?
Boulevard.
Do I exit?
Keep going.
At the 3 kilometers, do I exit?
You have to wait until you say Volant-Thérien. Before you do that, you have Longueuil, a sign for Longueuil.
Okay.
And then you look out for Volant-Thérien.
So it's shortly after the Champlain Bridge, right?
No, not too far, that's right. This is probably the last major bridge. Although I'm not clear. Not quite sure, I think it is, because we're getting close. You're drifting. Can we do that for you? We'll look it in.
Okay, so long guy.
You got that long guy? Yeah, okay. Good.
Broussard is where all the yarn for weaving comes from. That's where the weavers group order it from.
Maybe the last way, like that.
Should I stay in this lane? Oh yeah, they're all coming in.
Yeah, I think so. As soon as you see that. Whoa. Okay. As soon as you see the sign for Montreal, then you better move into the lane. The right lane.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to pass. Or to change lanes, right? The white line there means you have to stay in your lane. Now we're beside the river.
No, Victoria is another one.
What about it?
So that bridge, that wasn't the last bridge that we got.
Oh, I see.
Right here.
Okay, so there's the Champlain Bridge and then there's the Victoria Bridge. I always like to look at those circles on top. I guess those are for raising something. They've got pulleys on them. Must be a lift bridge.
Maybe, yeah, because it doesn't seem to be very high.
By Expo 67 remnants.
We haven't had Victoria yet. Or maybe we did, yeah.
That must be it up there.
That could be, yeah.
How do you say Taschereau?
Taschereau.
Taschereau? Taschereau? With your tongue on the top?
So that would be the Victoria Bridge, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Taschereau. I like languages. I really enjoyed learning Dutch when we were in Holland. I was kind of getting good at it with all of those verbs. I mean, in my very own beginner's way. Longi.
Okay.
Long guy. So IL says I?
EUIL.
What?
EUIL.
EUIL says I?
I.
I?
Something like that.
How do you know? You can't. There's nothing phonetic. E-U-I-L. Wrong guy. Well, now I can pronounce all the words with E-U-I-L on the end.
So this must be the Victoria Bridge.
Yes.
There it is, Boulevard Taschereau. Oh no.
I don't want that.
Oh no, that's right.
I stay on this until...
Yeah, that's right. Phew.
Don't worry, I got this. So far, so good. And we got time.
Yep.
Oh, it's only 8:43.
Oh, it's Pont-Jacques-Cartier. This was the Pont-Jacques-Cartier.
What?
This was the Pont-Jacques-Cartier.
And the Victoria
was medieval.
There's a lot of bridges. You know, Pittsburgh, I never realized how many bridges there were in Pittsburgh until I watched that show. I forget what the name of the show was. The one that the Princess Meghan is in. Roland Ontario.
That's the
2 kilometers. Okay. Roland Terry, what? Terrien. I guess I'll get in front of this guy here. Roland Terrien. I always think there's a Marie in it, but no. Tunnel, LHL. But I think we're going on. TH, does it say th?
No, t.
TH says t.
Either with or without an H.
Ah.
Normally they have no H's, but for some reason there's an H there. I'm not sure why.
Oh, the sun is out. Pretty.
The H in French is silent, except for CH.
Herbal.
Do you need it?
And we stay on Boule Marie Victorine. That's why I got the Marie mixed up. This is the gas station, 175.9 per liter. Parc du Industrial. I did pretty good driving without you when I went with the other guys. Now I turn right again. It's like we've gone around a block.
Yeah, you went there on the block.
And you're allowed to do right on red in Montreal. Yes, you are.
Montreal Island.
No, I got beeped at for not turning right on red. And they all just came behind me.
Okay.
So we're good. So now we've gone, we came that way, I think, and we've gone...
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went into the square, and now we're going under the square. And past... Now we go right again?
No. Left.
We turn left?
No. Well, you go straight.
Oh, we go straight. Okay.
That lane turns.
Oh, okay.
Then you go back to the gas station.
Oh, I see. I was behind a bus here last time. Which is my next turn. Gonna be right.
Yeah, but not for a while. I think there's what, four or five traffic lights, something
Okay.
like that, which are pretty short distances from one another, but you have time.
Now that over there, is that where we were before? We would have been if we carried on?
I have no idea.
It's 20. 20, 25, 32. Yeah, LHL tunnel. So they're all about to go through the tunnel we would have gone through if we'd stayed there. Autobus. Is that right?
Autobus.
What? How is it?
Autobus.
Autobus. Autobus. A then says O.
AU says O.
AU says O. O. Autobus. Bus, right?
Autobus.
Bus? So U says
Autobus.
what?
Autobus. This is it, that one. Or the next.
Here we are, temple time. How do you say that? L'Église de Jésus-Christ de Santos des Derniers Journées. How do you say it?
L'Église de Jésus-Christ, or Christ, I'm not quite sure how much you pronounce there.
You know, we have my handicap sticker in the other car, which needs to be put in this car. Look at that, we did it.
Imagine that, okay.
Look at that. Here we are, Montreal
dressing.
Temple. You're dressed. Well, thank you for coming with us. I hope you've enjoyed the trip. It's been a long trip, I suppose, early in the morning. Thank you, Oracle. It's a cool vid. How's your subscriptions going? Still got 158? You need to do something? Are you waiting for me?
I'm gonna go and grab my
Get your tie.
and everything, yeah. Anyway, we have time.
All right. Well, I'm gonna, what time is it? It's 10 to 9, so we've got 40 minutes before we can go in. So, here you go, you have that. And I'm gonna go and look around.
Okay.
You have 163. Did they go up lately? Oh, my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Yes, good job, good job. You've been commenting on all the live videos so people know that you're out there. Okay, let's turn this around and see the temple. See on the top of the temple, the guy with that's the angel Moroni. In the midst, an angel flying in the midst of heaven with the everlasting gospel to proclaim to all the earth. He came in 1850 something, and more scripture was given, scripture that had been recorded for thousands of years. 2,500? No, I don't know how long. They've always got a nice fence around the temple. Look, there we are. Me and my Willem. Let's go look over here. Let's go for a little walk. Shall we? Get the wiggles out. Make my hip work again. I guess you shouldn't sit that long. That was what, 3.5 hours or more? They always do such nice things with the property at the temple. It's the house of the Lord. Make it very beautiful for him. There's always nice spots to sit and meditate. This is the Montreal Temple, Montreal, Quebec. So things are in the language of the majority. So before a session starts, they ask how many want French, how many want English. And usually the first session goes in French. Get the drops of water on these. Oh, what a beautiful view. See, the trees on one side are getting closer. Isn't that lovely? Oh my gosh. I wonder if I can take a picture of this. How do you do that? Hey, it took a picture. Nice. Here we go. Take a picture of me. Get my fingers in it. How do you do it? With this camera, I have to do it with 2 fingers. Push that button and that button without getting my finger in the way. Oops. Hello, hello. Let's turn it around. You don't want to see me. You see the house of the Lord. Holiness to the Lord. See what it says on the temple? No, this is Canada. Montreal is in Canada. See, it's in Quebec, which is one of the provinces of Canada. Can't read it. I can't hold it still enough. It says, holiness to the Lord, the house of the Lord.